We talked ad nauseum about the type of team we were going to play tonight. They lost two in a row. I said, can you imagine what we were going to be like if we had lost two in a row? They got a top 25 team coming in, and it's rally the troops. Their practices had to have been the best since the game portion of the schedule that arrived. The coaches are upset. The players are upset. And what a great opportunity for their team to strike back and change the momentum of their season. And I didn't do a good enough job, obviously, the way we came out of the gates. What I just asked them at the end, I'm like, anyone that has a clue about basketball, has a relative idea of what's going on out there, could they not tell the difference between our effort in the first half and the second? And they're all like, yeah. I go, what's the problem? Do you not believe in me? Do you not listen to me? I don't have all the answers, but I told you what we were about to face. So I obviously didn't have a great pulse for it because we played different. We came out in the second half, and we had five of our first 11 possessions. We had turnovers, so we didn't really get to capitalize on how hard we were playing because we were really defending. And then, every loose ball, every bounce went their way there for a stretch where we thought we could turn the tide. But at the end of the day, we put ourselves in a deep hole, and they took advantage of it.
Which obviously we didn't shoot the ball well. You can look at stats to know that. Was it Georgia Tech's defense causing our issues, or we just had a bad shooting night? How do you explain that?
I don't know. I'll have to watch the tape to give you an honest answer, but probably a little bit of both. I don't think we took a bunch of bad ones. I thought a couple in the first half we could have got better. I think always that fine line with confidence, et cetera, that we've talked about, plenty of times. But I just thought the biggest deal was, they got confident early. Our defense wasn't on point. We just weren't, what we're accustomed to and what's required. You're playing an ACC school in their arena coming off 2 losses, and you're on the ACC network. If you can't get excited and motivated to play, then I don't know. I don't have the answer for that, but it's disappointing. I'm very disappointed with the outcome. I'm very disappointed in how it got to be to the loss.
I thought in the first half, and you talked about they got off to a good start and got some momentum and all that. I thought their high ball screen really caused us a lot of issues. Were we defending it the right way? What was going on there? Because they were really running us in those screens and scoring off of that.
Yeah, we were our bigs, in our opinion, at half. We talked about it. We weren't giving enough support, and we were worried about them rolling out for the lobs, and we didn't trust the guys behind them to be there for them for whatever reason. And it's not what we practiced, and it's not what we talked about, but we kind of got in kind of guarding our own a little bit, and that's not what we do at the point of attack when the ball screen happens. And we tried to adjust at halftime to, get some more ice so they couldn't get it to the middle of the court, and then toward the end, the last 10 minutes of the game, for the most part, we were just switching 1 through 5 and not even messing with it anymore, especially when we were playing a lot of the small ball lineups that didn't give us nearly the problems in the second half. And, we gave up 28 points. And usually you give up more in the second half than you do in the first half. And probably 3 or 4 of those were free throws, toward the end of the game. But, we had to learn a valuable lesson. I was hoping we could not stay away from learning a valuable lesson, but we just learned a valuable lesson.
We're 6-0 going to this game. You start feeling good about yourself. It's human nature. Anything in your practices leading up to this game that made you think we were going to come out like that?
Not as a whole. I'm not going to obviously single them out, but we had a couple guys that weren't themselves, and I made a mistake. I should have sat a couple guys down and tried to get underneath it, but I let it fester a little bit, and it bit me because they played just like they practiced, and I talked about that at halftime as well, and that's my fault because I saw it, and I just chose to see what happened during the game, and I'm disappointed in myself that I let it go like that, and again, I'm not going to single them out, but we had a couple guys that just weren't themselves, and when you're trying to beat a team that hungry and that talented, you just can't do that.
How much did Tech's size around the rim make it tough on you inside tonight?
It definitely did. you can sit there and say, hey, if you have a clear path, go lay the ball in. If you don't, then, come to some sort of jump stop and find a teammate. It sounds good, when you're watching the game from when we sit or when we analyze the game. But when you're going full speed and you're going downhill, that's a whole nother matter. And, we played a team that looked like us in terms of size with athleticism. We had played teams that had some size, but I didn't feel like they had that athleticism, and we talked about that a lot. We showed him, this is going to be different. It's going to be more like practice. You can't go in there without a plan, and we're not that big out front. And some guys, went in there thinking that, they were going to be able to lay the ball in, and that wasn't the case. And we showed them at halftime how guys were open behind them, but we just weren't getting that part of the game plan into the game, and it hurt us.
I'll let you run on this one. Josh Hubbard had 17 tonight, and I told Coach Williams there were times where it felt like he was doing everything he could to try and give you a chance to get back into it with a couple big makes in the second half. It's uncanny to me that a guy who is his age can come into these environments and still find ways to play somehow under control and not let the moment get too big for him.
And I would say this to him if he was here, and I hope everyone out there understands it's said with all due respect, but I don't look at him like that anymore. He's a big cog in what we're doing. He's a different kind of freshman, and he scored 17 points, but it also took him 18 shots to do it. So they made him a volume scorer. And again, I'm not saying he didn't compete and he didn't help us, have a chance, but he's got to be more efficient. He was one of those guys that I thought in the first half took some shots that were questionable, and he's got a lot to learn. But I put him such high regard that I expect him to learn it quickly, and I say that with a ton of respect, and I know I would say the same thing to him. You're not a freshman, son. You're a big part of what we're doing, and you've got to learn on the fly.